see it, if you could just type in that you can see this, that would be fantastic. So ways to visualize vocabulary. Yes, great. And here we go. Okay, so one thing about vocabulary that we think about is, I think, the denotation and the connotation of the words. So that's something that our learners may have a hard time when it comes to memorizing a list of vocabulary words. And yes, that does come about in our practice. We have to give students a list of vocabulary words that they have to know, and that helps them with the language. But a lot of times they may understand the denotation, which is the dictionary word of the dictionary definitions. They memorize them, but they don't understand the connotation. And connotation means what we associate with the word. So particularly here we have happy, and then over here on the right side we have a picture of someone happy. Now in the chat box, if you show someone a word, like your students a picture, then the great thing is that you can ask them things about that vocabulary word. So for example, happy. In this picture on the right side, what kind of other words would you associate, or emotions would you associate with happy? Why do you think she's happy? Why is she happy on the telephone? And you can type that in the chat box. But there are many reasons. She could have just gotten a job promotion. She could have just been told by her boss she got a raise. So these are all things that can spark conversation, and then your students begin to learn the differences between happy, and then maybe you can talk about the differences between the degree of separation between happy, excited, ecstatic, and you can go on and on. And these are all synonyms, and they're all connotations of the word happy. So I think we need to get our learners to that stage. Scientific research has shown that many of our learners will try to memorize lists and drills, and on the test, when they take the bubble test, and when they maybe take a pop quiz, they'll be able to recite the definitions, but they won't remember the vocabulary for lifelong learning. And that's something that I think we really need to get our students to do. So a lot of our students really approach this in difficult ways, and the traditional methods are basically, they may read it out of a book, they may highlight, they may write the definition in a notebook, they may create a list of words and then memorize them. They may even put flashcards and try to do this kind of drilling, but this is all drilling. And what it means is that our learners will not understand how to use the words when it comes to essays, or when it comes to conversation, or when they need it in the real world. So I think we need to get them away from the drilling, and we can do this, and it can be very fun. The thing about the drilling is it makes our class boring, and it also makes it so difficult for the brain to process. If you've ever tried to learn a different language, which many of you have, then you may know that trying to memorize a list of words may have not been very successful for you. At least it wasn't very successful for me. Because the reason is we need to get our students to set goals, to visualize the vocabulary, and to apply it within a context. A lot of research in mnemonics shows that we can remember things if we actually put a picture to it, or if we imagine ourselves doing the action, or trying to figure out a word and image association. So one of the things we can do, so now I'm going to get into some of the activities we can do, is show a powerful picture. Let's say that you're talking about freedom, or history, or political overthrow. I thought this was a really amazing, powerful picture. And in the chat box, you can begin to type, what words come to mind when you see this picture. And this would go off of, for example, let's say you want to do an activity where you're trying to get the students, they're going to read some kind of book or poem, and it's about something difficult like political history or theory or something like that, then you can show them a picture at the beginning, like an introduction, and get them to start making connections and associations where they begin sort of like a free writing, and then they just simply words that come to mind. And in essence, what they're doing is they're thinking of the connotation of the theme before you've given it. So you can just show them this picture, and maybe things like freedom or oppression and things like that come up to their mind, but you didn't define it for them. They define it for you. So they may come up with things like women's rights or civil rights, or maybe they say voting or something like that, or history or politics. And then together as a class, after you have talked about these different adjectives, you can come up with what the topic would be, what the theme is afterwards. So you're doing like a reverse kind of defining. And the other thing is, have the students bring in pictures. So if you have a really tough topic in the background is a big word like oppression or something like that, then you can always have the students bring in pictures that they think are really are connotations of that word, that evoke the feelings and emotions of, or embody what that word is. And so that's one of the things, and students love to share, and it makes it really personalized for them, because they have to go out, and this is a good homework activity. They have to search for the pictures and take it with a camera. And I usually have them email it to me, and then I can show it in the overhead projector in class, or they can just bring a copy of it, those who don't have the internet. But you can do that for different vocabulary words as well. Let's say that you have a list of vocabulary words you have to know from a book. Well, then you can have each student assigned a vocabulary word, and they have to find an image that comes with it. And in the rest of the class, you mix up the pictures, and then they try to determine what is the vocabulary word based on the picture. So you just mix them up, and it's like a guessing game as a class, and or that could be your pop quiz at the beginning, and it makes it fun and really assesses their understanding. So other really practical things you may have heard of are word walls, and this particular word wall is a great example. I think with our word walls, the basis is basically the class has to learn a list of vocabulary words. So every time you feel that the class has learned that word, then one of the students puts that on the wall, and that's at the end of the year. They have basically a visual of all the words that they should know by the end of the year. Now, this takes a lot of work and construction, but a lot of people do this with interactive whiteboards now. So that's something you can do, or you can do it on a Glogster or another type of website, a wiki, and then you have your word wall. I particularly like this word wall. This word wall is really great to be able to see the root words, and then you have root as in tree, and prefixes and suffixes. And then above each branch, you would actually put the words together that represent, in, happiness. So then that would be a word on the word wall. Wondering, and then so on and so on. And this really breaks down the words for them so that they can visualize. Okay, sorry. Okay, were you all able to see the presentation? I hope so. What was the last slide that I took off on? I'm so sorry. I thought I was presenting this whole time. Oh. Oh, I'm so sorry. The word wall? Okay, well, let's see if it'll... I'm so sorry. Okay, well, then we will do this again. Sorry about that. Well, I'll leave a recording of it. So let me go ahead and hopefully it'll let me share my screen and you guys can see this. Can you still see me and hear me? Okay. And I can run through them. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it had cut me off. Okay, so hopefully you can see and hear me. Okay, so these are some of the ideas. Hopefully it'll let you see my screen. I'm going to put it down here just so I can see if you're there. Can you guys hear me and see me okay still? Oh, okay, so we had word walls, and then the next one was design slides. Can you hear that? Okay, good. Let me see if I can do the, maybe if I change the bandwidth. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Can you all see the presentation? Let's see. Can you see the presentation now? Tell me if you can see the presentation. Yes? Okay, good. So let's go back to that, and hopefully you can see that. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you can see. I'll check back in a little bit. So the next one was, after the word was to design, to have the students design their own slides, and they can do that with either a Pecha Kucha, or they can do that just as a presentation. And a lot of times, especially with adult students, they may have to give PowerPoint presentations. And the great thing about designing slides is, you may have noticed, like with my slides, I lose a lot of words, and I try to make it to where the slides will actually the picture supports the words and the message. So you can do that like with quotes and things like that. So you teach them about good design of slides, but you also teach them to visualize that vocabulary. The next kind of activity you can do is have them design anything. They can design bookmarks, they can design t-shirts, they can design different types of book covers as well, or bumper stickers, and make it a contest. You know, the one that wins will get theirs printed. And so this is a t-shirt that I like. It's a bit silly. It says, "I'm smiling under this mustache," but you can see how they get to have fun with visualizing that kind of vocabulary. Get creative. This is one of my favorite things that Barbara Sakamoto did with her students, is she made a human alphabet book. She did this with voicethread.com, and one of the things she did was, she went ahead and she had this kids in her class that she's teaching English, and they made the letters, and then on the side you see these little kind of icons, and these are people saying what the favorite words are that begin with that letter. So this is a really fun way to visualize vocabulary. And let me show you some cool sites out there. One of the cool sites that I really love a lot is Tagoo. And I'm going to make this a little bit lower just to see if you can still hear me. So if you can still hear me and see the presentation, please click on and let me know. Or click on yes, and then I will know. Can you hear me still? Okay, looks like I'm still going. Okay, good. Okay, so Tagoo. And the great thing is, it's a word cloud tool, but Tagoo really also defines things. So for example, Tagoo would be able to show you that you, every time you click on the link on any of these words, not only do you get to design the font and do you get to add the words, but all of these click onto a website. And what it does is, when it clicks, then the website searches for that word and comes up with everything with that word. So you can do this with Wikipedia. You can have it attached to Wikipedia, YouTube videos that define the word. I mean, there's so much that you could do with it. So I really, really love, you could just do it on a type of website that says a lot of things. Here you can see a lot of the words with this word cloud tool, such as height and weight and nation and Russian and state and alpine. And then you're able, my students, I actually use this with them to teach them about the Winter Olympics. Now there's many, many more other word cloud tools, and you can find a lot of them in Marissa's blog. And all you have to do is basically type Google Marissa and word cloud tools, and you'll come out with this wonderful blog post that lists like 30 of them. It tells you the great ones that there are, and it gives you a comparison chart that she did that tells you which each one has to offer you and how they're different. Another website that I really love a lot is Muzi. Muzi is an interactive type of blog almost, but it imports your pictures from, for example, if you approve it, Facebook, and the students can then support it with text, and they can move it around, and it's really easy to use. It's free, and it's very, very nice. So here the topic is happiness, and there's this happiness project that I'm doing with Chuck Sandy and Barbara Sakamoto and Vladka. And so what we're doing is we're asking people and students and classes from around the world and teachers to put a poster together of what makes them happy in life. And here, what makes me happy, as you can see, is my pug Roscoe. Quizlet. Quizlet is a great website. It's one of my most favorite websites for flashcards. And the great thing about Quizlet is that you don't necessarily have to create the flashcards. Your students can create them, or there's already a bunch of flashcards that they offer for free that other people have created. This is one that I got from 2 and 3 part phrasal verbs. I embedded this in my wiki. They click the arrows, and the kids can see the different types of words and stuff like that as well. It pronounces it for them. It shows them the words. They can choose a different mode. And what is meant by different mode is they can play games. There's different types of games. They time themselves. They see the record compared to other people. So Quizlet is just one of those great, amazing types of visualizing vocabulary websites. And if you have to do a list of words, like phrasal verbs and things like that, then I think it's really, really useful. The other great thing about Quizlet is that it happens to be a mobile app as well. So it works on your iPad, your iPhone, your Android, your Windows Phone, so different types of devices as well. And I believe it's a free app so students can learn on the go while they're waiting in line for the bus and stuff. I'm going to check really quick if you all can still hear me. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Okay, great. So the next one is WordStash. And if you look at WordStash, this is a very new website. They're in beta, but you can go into it and you can create classes. It's based on flashcards as well, but you can make a class, and when you make a class, you can give them goals. Like, this is what you have to study today, this week, or next week. So this is all for free, so teachers can really organize a class of students. It's a bit more private. And the great thing is there's games on this as well. You can look up words, or you can add the words yourself, or the students can add the words when you create this class. So it's like online class learning with flashcards. So I think it's actually really quite great, because each week you can have them learn the vocabulary list this way. And then when you click on, it even pronounces it for them. It will tell them the definitions. It'll give them synonyms. So the other thing is, when you click on this icon over here, and you can see examples of it used in real publications, the New Yorker, the New York Times, and different types of publications like that with a picture, and they can keep clicking next to begin to understand through the examples what the word means. So that's WordStash. Wordia. Wordia, I mean, it doesn't even really get any better than this. Wordia is just one of those fantastic ways to learn vocabulary. There's so much you can do with it. It's based on games. You get lesson starters and plenaries, lesson plans, help sheets that you can print out. It's free to sign up. And this is my favorite part of Wordia. Wordia actually lets students look at a word and understand the word through video. So people actually define the word in a video, and they upload it to Wordia. So students can either create their own video to define the word. Like, for example, this is copyright, and the user here is Kazu Coco. They can use any username they want. They don't have to use their real name. And then they come up on the video, and then they say what copyright means to them. So I think it's really powerful examples. some of the examples they have are from authors. They have them from famous people. You can see Justin Bieber or someone like that defining a word, or the students can make it themselves. I think it's better the student makes it themselves, the video, and then uploads it for everyone. And then because then they have to think about the definition of the word and the connotation and all of that. So it's a really great site. But it also defines it text-wise, and it defines it in different ways. So what would copyright be as a noun versus an adjective versus a verb? And that's really important for our students to understand, and sometimes they don't necessarily get that. In Wordia, you have games that actually look like games. They look like a lot of fun with great graphics. And for kids, this is really wonderful because the kids, it's not only for kids, the site, but I think the games they're geared towards accomplishing things, and they're just really fun. So you have the quiz, you have a spell, you have puzzles, you have where they sing, different types of vocabulary words. And then you can even create games yourself. So that's really exciting with your different types of vocabulary lists. So in every sense of the aspect, Wordia is just fantastic, and it's free. I really love Wordia. Another thing you can do with your students is have them make motivational posters. So I think this goes back to the connotation. So here the word could be lethargic, or the word could be pooped. A lot of kids don't understand maybe some kind of words that are specific to the culture, like the word pooped. Like if I say, I am pooped. But you make one of these motivational posters, is really easy. You take one of your photos. I took one of Roscoe. You upload it, and then you can put your phrase. So my phrase was just one of those days, and this embodies the word lethargic or pooped or very lazy. Triptico.co.uk. Now this isn't a browser-based application. It's actually a free software you download. So you go to this website, you download this free software, and it has 20 different types of really cool ways for students to be able to learn vocabulary, including the famous word magnets. And these are geared, they can play on the computer, but a lot of these are really created for interactive whiteboards. So if you have an interactive whiteboard and it's just sitting around, then download the software and you'll be able to help the students learn the vocabulary. There's so many fun different types of activities they have for it. Flickr Poet. Now I've talked about Flickr Poet before, but the great thing about Flickr Poet is that you can type in any phrase and it automatically comes up with images to support the words behind it. So here I have the famous phrase, to be or not to be, that is the question. And maybe in the chat box you can type in where this famous phrase comes from. So let me see if you still are with me. Yes, you are. Okay, great. Just checking. And then, so here they actually compare to be or not. So I thought that was a really great photo there, is the question. And if the kids or the students don't believe that the actual image supports this type of, that the image supports it, then one of the things that I would suggest is have them click the picture and it'll change to a different picture, which makes them think about the way an image supports language. And now I'm going to tell you about a few free apps. Now some of the apps I didn't put on here because I've talked about them before, but there's Animoto, there's Storyrobe, there's Photobabble, and there are other types of apps out there which are really good for visualizing different types of vocabulary. But I'm going to show you a few free ones that I like, and some maybe not so free, but this is Comic Touch Light. You can make little comics. Here you see Roscoe, my favorite subject, and he says a little more beauty sleep, but the kids can have a lot of fun with this. In the light version, which is the free version, then you get a little comics kind of icon logo with it that says Comic Light. This is on the Android and iPhone and iPad as well. This one I love. I mean, it was cheap. It was only 99 cents, but it's word photo. With word photo, you can put phrases on your picture. So you see Roscoe, and the phrase I have here is, aren't I cute? So you can do different types of words. It gives you all these options. This was just one of the ones that I did quite quickly. So it's almost like a word cloud on top of a picture. And those are the ones that I wanted to show you today. So hopefully you had a lot of great ideas, and I'm really sorry about the technical difficulties. I will actually go to the bit.ly part, and I will add the slides so you can find the slides. In about 15 minutes, you will be able to see the slides in this web address. Actually, I'll put it in the slide share if you have any questions, but that way you can see the different types of websites that there are. You will find all of it here. Hold on. I'm typing in the website right now. Here we go. So you can see me again. Does anyone, okay, and Bob shared with us the crossword maker, so that's really fantastic as well. Thank you, Bob. And does anybody have any other ideas of how they really help their students visualize vocabulary in the classroom? Now this is the slide share, and that's where I'll share the slide later. So be sure to look at that and you'll be able to see it. And if you have any questions or if you would like to say anything, then I'm going to go ahead and give you the microphone, and then you just raise the hand, which is the very top, and then I will let you tell us how you help yours. Okay, so Natalia says visual thesaurus. Can you explain the visual thesaurus for us? I think that's a really great idea. Or you can type it in the box if you'd like, or you can take the microphone and let us know that way. And all the resources you'll be able to find later at this website right up here, which is the bit.ly website. Okay, and I see a few people. Okay, so Faiza, why don't you take the mic and then
Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Shelley. Well, I would like to say something about this. Well, actually, just I wrote it. We can use anagrams. So, well, I know that you have an idea about anagrams. It, well, the thing that I did, because it's about vocabulary words, so I can teach my students through anagrams, um, especially with jobs. That I got them words. I mean, and then they can rearrange the letters in the same word, so they got jobs or names of countries or whatever. Other thing that I want to say about this, we can use jigsaw. Really, I like it, jigsaw, that because especially teacher can use jigsaw with reading text, but also we can use jigsaw with vocabulary, especially with with the prefixes or suffixes or etc. Well, it will be a very nice game, I think. Thank you very much.
I think those are really great ideas, jigsaws and um, also the anagrams. I think anagrams are a lot of fun as well. And I don't know about you, but in my newspaper, I actually come up with a lot of anagrams that are there. So there's a lot of books and resources you can find online for that. So those are really great ideas as well. Does anybody have any other ideas? And then Natalia, um, shared a website, the visual thesaurus, and then Bob shared the anagrams as well. So I'll add those to the resources. And thank you so much for that, the anagram maker. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Sorry about that.